Hi, thank you for having me here. So I tremendously enjoyed the conference thus far. What is my current project? So when I was a kid, I watched Superman 3. And there's this villain in this movie. He's super rich and he wants more money. And his employee, so he wants this supercomputer to be made. And someone asked him, why do you want this? You know, you already got everything. And he said, it's not enough that I win, everybody else must lose. So I think that's not his saying, but I loved it. And philosophy is much about that. Sometimes, you know, you say that everybody else, you need to tweak something, but the best kind of philosophy is when you say everybody's wrong and I'm right. And that's the sweet part. So the sweet part is when you're arguing that everybody is wrong. In this talk, I'm going to argue that everybody else lose. And then, you know, there's the second part that I'm not going to talk today that I win. But this is like everybody else lose, especially Neri Masili. I'm looking at you, man. You lose. So, the talk is, so the title is Did Theresa May Lie? Did May lie? I wanted to be flashy, but it's not just about Theresa May. It's a political example. I just took it as something funny, you know, catchy, nothing political about that. I don't care about Brexit and the stuff. So the predominant view in philosophy is you lie only if you assert something that you believe is false with sufficient confidence. Weaker condition is you assert something you do not believe, but we don't accept that mainly because it includes BSing, bullshitting. I still struggle to say that out loud, even though it's a technical term. So BSers can assert something they don't believe, and we think that they don't lie in these circumstances, so we favor the stronger condition. I think that this approach is incorrect. And the reason is this phenomenon that I think I discovered, at least I'm the first one to publish anything about it, called transparent delusion. So there was a talk at my university, my previous university of Oakland, by Martin Davies about delusion, and he presented some patients. And these people knew that they're delusional, not in the sense of being troubled by their thoughts, but in the sense that they knew that their delusions were false, and they couldn't abandon them. And I was like, wow, how would this person lie? So I think that people can lie even by asserting what they consciously and confidently believe to be true. I'm not going to defend this claim, I'm going to defend the weaker claim. Why? It's really complicated, it's radical, it goes against our intuitions, but I think that our intuitions are tainted by our theories. So I'm just going to try to defend a weaker claim. If you assert something that you consciously and confidently believe to be false, you need not count as a liar. And I'll discuss two kinds of examples: selfless assertions, lucky selfless assertions, and what I call anti-reliable assertions. So I discovered these assertions because I expected Neri to raise some questions regarding selfless assertions. So this is me reacting to you before you actually ask any questions. Just so that you know I'm watching you, man. Okay, then I'll try to defend a stronger claim that I can lie by asserting what I consciously and confidently believe to be true, but only if we have enough time. So I rehearsed this in my room, but you know, it might happen that I talk longer than when I talk to myself. So Theresa May. Theresa May, I don't know, so she dismissed concerns raised by her Treasury and her minister, finance minister, and she said that, you know, no deal Brexit will be fine. Oh, sorry, there's something missing here. Yeah, fine. Actually, she said a no deal Brexit wouldn't be the end of the world, which is literally true, so I kind of rephrased it to capture the essence of what she said. So she said, you know, so what? No deal Brexit's not going to be a big deal at all. But surely she must in some sense know that the Treasury and her own finance minister are not lying to her, and that they're experts. So if someone knows whether it's going to be a big deal or not, it should be the Treasury. But this still wasn't enough for her to change her mind. Now, is May lying by asserting no deal Brexit will be fine to the public? No, because she asserts what she confidently and consciously believes to be true. But let us suppose that May is extreme. So this is an imaginary May. I'm not ridiculing Theresa May. Let's say that May is extremely proud and with an uncontrollable urge to be right on vital matters. This urge obstructs the revision of her belief that a no-deal Brexit will be fine. Yeah, okay, I'm going to skip this. So we can talk about this if you want. So there is a way to explain how this is possible. So she has this extremely, she has an uncontrollable urge to be right. She's really proud. But she still comes to think, well, you know, even though I cannot help myself believing that a no-deal Brexit will be fine, surely my finance minister, the person I chose, surely the Treasury know what they're doing. And that must mean that my belief is unjustified, perhaps even false. So one night, you know, she's having drinks with her friends, and her friends ask her, you know, so I'm going to discuss this later. Her friends ask her, what's going to happen with the no-deal Brexit? Is it going to be fine or not? And she says a no-deal Brexit will have large fiscal consequences. So she doesn't assert what she confidently believes to be true. She asserts what she confidently believes to be false. So her realization that her belief is epistemically unjustified lowers her credence in the proposition. Let's say from 0.1, is this pointy thingy working? From 1 to 0.7, so pointy thingy is working. This causes her to assert to her friends a no-deal Brexit will have large fiscal consequences, but this is a proposition she consciously and confidently believes to be false with confidence 0.7. Those of you who know lots about self-deception will see a similarity with the famous Nicole cases by Eric Funkhauser, where Nicole is confident enough to assert to her friends that her husband is not having an affair, but she cannot drive next to her husband's house. So, you know, asserting, this is a mirror image of Nicole. Now, is May lying now? She asserted something she confidently believes to be false, but only because she recognizes that she's in a very unfavorable epistemic situation. So she recognizes her biases. Recognizing that you're biased doesn't entail revising your beliefs. It entails that you're going to lower your credence, but not revising the belief altogether. Adler famously argued that. Really good book, man. Okay, so is May lying? No, she's a saint, man. My intuition, May realizes that her conviction in the propositions she believes is epistemically unjustified, and therefore, while it is unclear whether she lies by asserting what she confidently believes to be true, i.e., no-deal Brexit will be fine, I think that it is clear that she is not lying to her friends by asserting the proposition she confidently believes to be false. Why? Because she wants to inform them. She realizes that her belief is epistemically unjustified. Interpretations. Full belief use, let's say that after 0.7 or 0.8 following Neri's talk yesterday, we can count that someone has a full belief, is convinced. So full belief users are going to say that May is lying because she asserts what she believes is false, and she intends that her audience comes to believe what she says. So she's lying even on the standard traditional view or the deceptionist views, as James calls it. But May is trying to inform her friends. You know, when you're lying intending to deceive someone, you want to make someone epistemically worse off. You want to have someone further away from the truth. What May is doing, she's trying to push them towards the truth. She knows that she might be far away from the truth, and she's trying to help them epistemically. Credence-based account. So I focused on Neri, not on Krauss, not because I hate Neri, I'm just kidding. It's just that Krauss's account is kind of complicated. If you want to discuss Krauss's account, I will do that. I think that Neri's definition is the subtlest wrong definition that we have so far. I think it's much more successful than Krauss's definition. if you wanted this. So this is not the only definition, but I kind of like it. So Neri, this is a revised version of his comparative sincerity condition. Neri says, a person is lying if she takes herself as asserting what she believes is more likely to be false than true. So you know the scale that Neri gave us? So a person is lying if her credence is, if she thinks that her credence is less than 0.5. And the lesser the credence is, the more confident the person is that she is lying. So by asserting an no-deal Brexit will have large fiscal consequences, according to Neri, May satisfies the comparative insincerity condition. Her credence in this proposition, pointy thingy, is 0.3. Very low credence, she takes the proposition to be more likely false than true. Therefore, May is lying. May is very upset by this result, Neri. She's like, I think that this is the wrong result. I don't think that I agree with this lady here. Now, some replies. Is this a genuine counterexample to the received theories? There are three kinds of replies. The first one is the received theories actually can successfully deal with the case. The second reply is that my description of the case is incorrect. And the third reply is, this is a borderline case, let's disregard it. I'm going to address this one right away. I think that this is not fair. So I give you something as a counterexample, and you tell me, yeah, nah, let's just disregard it. I think that this is not fair. I don't think this is a borderline case at all. So her credence is very low. A borderline case is if her credence was 0.51 or 0.6, and then we say, okay, man, this is a touchy-feely thingy, you know, we don't know what to do, let's not talk about it. But this is not a borderline case. So her credence is really high, and she knows that her belief is epistemically unjustified. You need to know one thing. Some credences are not responsive to reasons. For example, racism. You don't become racist by being rationally persuaded. You are being taught, you know, you're raised as a racist. So reasoning will not revise your racist credence. It might reduce it a bit, but you're still gonna be a racist. The received views can explain May. One can say that May is not genuinely asserting. Yes, I could say that May is not asserting to the public. She's acting she's asserting from the position of the Prime Minister of England, of the Prime Minister. But I don't think that this follows when she's talking to her friends. So there she's talking as Theresa May. They're in a standard context. She counts as asserting on all definitions of all accounts of asserting. So I don't think that we can say that May is not genuinely asserting to her friends. The second one is, okay, let's bite the bullet. May is lying to her friends. Mary is right. Perhaps this is a white lie. It's not a white lie. A white lie is when I intend to mislead you for your benefit. So, or you intend to mislead, yeah? No?
No? A white lie is not always to the person's benefit.
Oh yeah. But it's always to mislead. So let's say my wife comes home, it's rainy, and her hair is like this. She's ugly, you know, the makeup all over the face. And I say, you look lovely. You know, so that's a white lie. I save her, but I mislead her. May is not trying to mislead her friends. She's trying to inform them. Ivan Milic offers a different argument to the same conclusion. Milic says, look, she should count as lying to her friends because there are no pragmatic considerations that would compel her to assert what she believes is false. So a pragmatic consideration would be asserting from the position of the Prime Minister. So when you're the Prime Minister, you're supposed to do stuff Prime Ministers do. So there's a Serbian politician who is probably crazy, but he said something like this. He said, as the Minister of Defense, this is what I believe, but as, you know, this private guy, this is what I believe. And Milic says something like this, you know. So Theresa May, as the Prime Minister, needs to have certain beliefs, that accord with the position of the Prime Minister. In this case, she's not in that position. She's just asserting as Theresa May. So she's not supposed to do that. She's supposed to give her own assessment. She should assert what she confidently believes to be true. So Munich says May should assert, or actually he's talking about Martin, the racist juror, May should assert that a no-deal Brexit will be fine. I think that, yeah, counterintuitive is a strong word. I think that the fact that you realize that your belief is epistemically unjustified is a very important consideration not to assert what you believe to be true. I'll give you another case that might flesh out this intuition much better. So pragmatic considerations are not the only considerations that might compel me to assert what I believe to be false. I think that realizing that you are being unreliable makes it justified for you to assert what you believe to be false. Second, how much time? I should do faster. So we could also say that May actually revised her belief, that my interpretation is impossible. You cannot realize that your belief is unjustified and continue believing it. So Turi would say, May only believes that a no-deal Brexit will have large fiscal consequences. And the intuition that she's lying comes from the fact that we think that she revised her belief. Kultidan and Maldebrand, they have this really neat theory of belief. They say it's possible to believe both P and that not P. So they would say May believes both that no-deal Brexit will be fine and that it will have large fiscal consequences. So when she asserts in one context, she follows one belief. When she asserts in a different context, she's reporting on a different belief. I don't have time for this example, maybe in the Q&A. I think that these interpretations should be given preference only if we treat this belief as a binary on-off matter, so that each proposition is either believed or not. So Mary talked about that. Only if we have full belief accounts of lying. But we already think that these accounts of lying are not good. We want credence-based. But if we understand belief as a graded matter, so that each proposition is assigned certain credence, that all we need is a coherent distribution of credences. So there's nothing wrong with my interpretation of the case. This is another counterexample. Is this okay so far? You're not sleeping. Okay. The second counterexample is from Egan and Elga. So Andy Egan and Adam Elga were discussing human faculties. The paper is called I Can't Believe I'm Stupid. It's an awesome paper, man. So they distinguish when a faculty is unreliable, so it doesn't track the truth particularly well, or when it is anti-reliable, it goes positively wrong. So a compass is unreliable if the direction it points tends to be close to north. So it doesn't point towards north, it's there. It's completely unreliable when it just goes in circle, it shows nothing. It's unreliable, anti-reliable, when it tends to point away from north, when it points south. So when you have a perfectly anti-reliable compass, you put it, and when it shows north, you know that this is south, and you just go the other direction. But not all cases are this simple. Consider this case. So let's say that, I don't know whether this is Andy or Adam. Let's say Andy, because he examined my dissertation. Andy has horrible navigational instincts. When Andy has to make a close judgment call as to which of the two roads to take, he tends to take the wrong road. If it were just Andy's first instincts that were mistaken, this would be no handicap. Approaching an intersection, Andy would simply check which way he is initially inclined to go, and then go the opposite way. So Andy would be like, should I take the left or right? I think I should take the right. That means I should go left. But this is not that simple. It is not that just Andy's first instincts go wrong. It is his all things considered judgments. So all things considered judgment is your final judgment. His final judgment is always anti-reliable. As a result, he tends to take the wrong road even when he second guesses himself by choosing against his initial inclinations. So no matter how many times Andy thinks about something, he always gets it anti-reliably. It's always the wrong, it cannot be stopped. Okay, so Andy faces an unfamiliar intersection, 4 roads. Let's say you and Andy are in a car, there's an unfamiliar intersection. What should Andy do? He should suspend his judgment. Because, and this is vital, if Andy were at all confident that he should turn left, that confidence itself would be evidence that he should not turn left. In anti-reliable believing, your confidence is evidence against the proposition you believe. The more confident you are that you should turn left, the more reasons you have that you shouldn't turn left. Awesome example. Now, I don't know whether you saw this movie. There's a series of these movies. So if you're anti-reliable, never, always suspend your judgment, go back home, otherwise nasty people will kill you. So say that you and Andy are traveling, you reach an unfamiliar intersection of 4 roads. Based on his all things considered best judgment, Andy becomes confident that you should turn left. His credence in the proposition is 08. However, when you ask him which road you should take, he says you should not turn left. Why? Because Andy knows that his confidence in we should turn left proposition is a sufficiently strong reason not to turn left. Is Andy lying to you? I think not. Andy knows that he goes positively wrong in these cases. Furthermore, Andy is informing you. Andy eliminates 1 of 3 options. So you could turn left, right, or go straight. So you had 30%, so he changes the probabilities. Rather than this set of probabilities, now the probability distribution is this. So you have 50-50% chance to guess the right turn. Before that, you had 1/3. I think that this is the opposite of what a liar intends to achieve, especially if we're traditionalists or deceptionists about lying. Now, I will stop now if you ever want to discuss this. So this is too complicated, and I'm just gonna thank you.
Thank you very much. Now it's time for a question. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so as Mike, it's a great paper. I love that. This all day. So, wait. That's
It's just for recording.
okay. So, I mean, to go back to the Theresa May case, because this raises the one that most interests me. So I want to get a description somewhere, one of the slides where it's, the expert has told her this, but she believes something else, but she asserts what the expert has said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the view defended by a number of philosophers I talked about yesterday is that when I'm lying to you, the primary thing I'm trying to get you to believe is what I believe. Not something about the world, but something about what I believe myself. So I'm wondering whether, if Theresa May is saying the no-deal Brexit will be terrible for the economy, right? Does she want to communicate that and not communicate that she believes that? Or is she trying to communicate that she believes that and that when she makes this assertion? Because if there was an ability to divide those two, then she wouldn't be lying on some accounts, because she's not trying to convince you about what she believes at all, and therefore you could argue that she fails to be a liar, even if she says things that because she could be, in some sense, distancing herself from believing the thing that she was asking you to believe. So I just want to ask, when you state what's supposed to be what she believes about the world. And is it the case that she's interested in having them believe something about what she believes, something about her, and not just something about Brexit?
Yeah. This is an important question. Actually, I would like to ask you a question. After I'm not really sure that when we ask people a question like, did the guy do it, or will a no deal Brexit be fine, we're interested in our interlocutor's belief. I think we're interested in the state of in the state of the world. So Milic thinks that when I ask you a question, I want to know what you believe about it. I think that's not the case. I think that when I ask you about something, I want to know about the world. If your belief coincides with that, I'm fine, but I mainly want to know what is happening in the world. Now, whether would May expect them to acquire a false belief that she believes what she says, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. That would make her assertion selfless, because selfless assertion, I see it as you in a sense turn out to be insincere, but you sacrifice your sincerity for the sake of someone's epistemic progress. But being insincere, though necessary for lying, is not sufficient. So I wouldn't say that the fact that she's insincere in this respect is sufficient to qualify her as a liar. Does this make sense? So she will mislead her friends, but that would be non-intentional. You know, Mel has this distinction between intentional, unintentional. So non-intentional action is, I know I cannot avoid it, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. So I do it knowing that I will cause some bad things, but I'm doing it for the sake of the good things. So she knows that she's going to mislead them, but she thinks that it's worthy enough. Does it make sense that it's not worthy, but it's worth it? You know, the fact that they're going to prepare for a no-deal Brexit is worthy enough for them to think that, you know, for her to mislead her friends. Now, we can talk about this later.
Yeah.
Do you think that she violates their trust? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. I just got the,
Right.
I got the question while you were asking me the question. Okay, anybody else?
I know you are keen to strike back as well.
Neri already gave me awesome feedback on the paper. Thank you, Neri.
Thanks for the paper. Thanks for the personal attacks. I just wanted to say, no, I really like the example at the end. I was just wondering, can we go back to it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have a question. So, like, you presented the view of what it means to be anti-reliable.
Yeah.
And in our example in particular, the idea is that what matters is the all things considered judgment.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, the way you construct the conversation, you know, we're driving the car
Yeah.
and you ask, which turn should we take? It seems like in the moment, you know, maybe he's making an assessment. Andy, we say it's Andy.
Yeah.
Andy's making an assessment of which turn should we take. But then the moment he's asked,
It's a different judgment.
it seems like it makes a further
Yeah.
judgment.
Okay.
So
But that would be a judgment about a judgment. So that's a second order judgment.
yeah, like the second guesses
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we were
yeah.
considering before
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we were presenting the example.
Okay. So you would say that his credence changed.
I mean, if, you know, the way the example is constructed, it seems that he's aware that he has this problem, so it does go through second guesses.
Yeah, but
When he
look,
thinks about his
look, Mary.
credence.
Knowing that you have a problem doesn't mean that you have resolved the problem. You know, so you can know. I know one doctor. She was on television and she was talking about post-labor depression. How would you say postnatal? Yeah. And she said, I'm a gynecologist, and when women come to me, I tell them, you know, don't worry, this is this depression. And she said, when I had a child, I was completely depressed, and I knew what it was, but I just couldn't change it. So the fact that you know that something is going wrong doesn't mean that you can change it.
But the way you presented the example, this this
It's as
person
if he
does
changed.
go through
Okay,
this
thanks,
thinking.
man. Noted. I'll
So-
change that.
And it seems if you change it though, you will no longer really have.
Yeah, all things. You would have a different all things considered best judgment.
It would be hard for him all of a sudden to change his mind when it comes to deciding what he should assert. So either he goes through second guesses, and you know he's aware of the problem, so it's like, oh, I decided to turn left, so maybe it's better to turn right. What should I do? Even my second guess would be wrong, so he goes through in circle, and then at some point he makes a decision. You need that because otherwise,
Yeah,
in the end, when
I
he
want.
makes the assertion.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Like, we need to proceed, but I.
Yeah, thanks.
Vladimir,
Thank you, man.